Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFLTV. Delighted as always to be joined by Mr. Gareth A.DAVIES. It's been a long 3 weeks, Gareth, since we've been at home doing an interview. I say home, Essex, London, UK. How are you, first of all?
I'm good. The Billericay Massive. How are you?
That's a separate podcast altogether.
No, that is a very, very different late Friday night podcast. So maybe we should do one after dark.
Yeah, I don't know.
Live on the streets of suburban Essex. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Maybe one day.
Maybe one day, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, it's been a long 3 weeks. Obviously, you and I were out in the Middle East with a little week in between the Saudi shows in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, etc. But yeah, look, let's just jump straight to it from the weekend. A trouncing. I'm not going to say embarrassing, but it was a little bit the scoreline, the way it was set out. Obviously, heavily in favour of Queensbury. I mean, I'm not going to declare how many I got right from the picks of the 5 fights, but it was very, almost overwhelming. Frank Warren's battering of Eddie Hearn, which Eddie Hearn, to be fair, has taken in good jest and kind of had to face up to the music of, yeah, which was kind of a weird night, because I thought some of the fights, personally, didn't really reflect a 10-0 scoreline. I felt like some of the fights were close and were evenly matched, but ultimately, yeah, Queensbury ran away with it.
Listen, the scoreline 10-0 belied the game, really, didn't it? In lots of ways, you could say. So, full disclosure, I went for Willie Hutchinson, Ray Ford, Hamza Shiraz, Filip Hrgović, and Zhilei Zhang. So I was there with 3 out of 2, 3 and 2 rather, 3 out of 5. But you know, the Hamza Shiraz fight, he broke him down after a little bit of trouble early in the second round. Nick Ball and Ray Ford was nip and tuck all the way, but brilliance from Nick Ball to have that other gear and out hustle Ray Ford. He was brilliant, frankly. Willie Hutchinson again really stepped up and out hustled Craig Richards and showed his boxing skills. And again, Daniel Dubois showed that he's learnt loads from his last 2 fights. And I think now is a worthy contender for an Anthony Joshua fight, a real step up against a guy who many feel is, you know, round 1, 2, or 3 in the world, probably 3 in the world right now. Maybe even more so if he puts Dubois away and fights Usyk or Fury. And Zhilei Zhang did very cleverly and sneakily and haunted Deontay Wilder, who just doesn't seem to have it anymore. He may have one more fight against a lesser foe, perhaps, but I don't think he's there in the top 5 or 6 anymore. Deontay, I'm not sure whether he's got much left. And that's how I saw the night. It was an amazing night. They were all great. And Bivol, of course, technical efficiency against Zinad. I thought he produced a great performance. And he swung it back in my mind. If he can box like that against Artur Beterbiev, who I saw as the favourite initially, I think he outboxes Beterbiev. But I don't want to see Beterbiev in with Jai Opetaia anytime soon. He was there. He's too big for those guys. Just too big. I want to see him fight a Coley at Bridgerweight.
Okay, there's a lot to dissect from what you just said there.
Well, you gave a very long question, so I thought I'd give a very long answer.
Touche, Mr. Davies. Let's start with Bivol. Always a bit of an awkward fight when there was such a huge fight on the horizon and then that fight didn't materialise. And it's almost a case of, right, well, Bivol still wants to fight, and it's like a little bit of a banana skin regardless of who the opponent is. You know what I'm talking about. These situations always happen when there's a huge fight on the horizon and kind of these kind of fights come in, but Bivol kind of showed his absolute class in that fight and wasn't ever going to slip up. Fair play to Malik. Listen, he kind of stepped in at late notice against, one of the best fighters in the world. And obviously wasn't to be nowhere near enough. But Bivol now, Beterbiev, set for August the 12th, as HE is...
August the 12th?
I meant October the 12th.
Okay, I was thinking that was new on me. Yeah.
No, we've got a night out on August the 12th. That's what.
No, I was thinking that destroys my my holiday coming up. I was thinking, oh no,
October the 12th. So, sorry, my apologies. October the 12th, Gareth. Sorry, didn't want to panic you about a date change that had just come up on Twitter. But October the 12th, we'll see the fight we were meant to see on the weekend from Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. But yeah, that fight now, again, which I felt was a little bit, not wasted, but on a 5v5 card that took kind of a lot of the attention to put that on the same card. I was always in two minds whether that should have been on that card. But it's going to happen. It's going to headline October the 12th, despite whatever else Turkey Al Sheikh has in store for that date, which is very unpredictable. But yeah, that fight will happen on October the 12th.
Yeah, I mean, look, to answer your original sub-clause on it, which was about the focus that Bivol managed to show, he was brilliant all week. He took his opponent, who was undefeated, and was representing a country in Libya, and he made that very clear that he was proudly representing his people. He stayed focused the whole time. He knew it was this guy's opportunity to win a world title. There were small moments of ascendancy for the Libyan. I think he's based in Malta, isn't he? And he's trained here in the UK for this fight. But Bivol was focused all week and said, I know what this guy is going to be going through in his head. He'll bring everything he's got. He did. And Bivol beat him up. He roasted him slowly. But he never took his eye off the prize. He never overreached with himself. He never got too comfortable in there. He is pure efficiency and profligacy when he fights. And I in terms of talent, profligacy, he's absolutely brilliant. He keeps very tight. He doesn't open up too much. When he did get caught, he went back to his guards, and he slowly broke his opponent down and treated him like a proper challenger and a rival. And he was defending a belt, and he lives to go on. And I think he, if anything, even though he was expected to win, I think he enhanced his reputation on Saturday night. I can't wait for this. And I will guarantee, well, I can't guarantee, but I bet you that fight on October the 12th, that card is absolutely stacked. It'll have two big heavyweight fights on it. It'll have meaningful contests. And I bet you it's got a load of new stars on there who we've not seen before in the Saudi Arabian mix. I bet it'll be huge, because I think that's the beginning of the Riyadh season, isn't it? So they'll want to do something enormous with it. And I believe, I can't confirm, but I believe there are enormous plans for that card.
Yep, I think obviously we've got the September card announcement due in about 3 weeks' time. But yeah, I'm assuming it will come after that. But very exciting times for the back end of 2024. Let's talk about, excuse me, let's talk about Daniel Dubois, first of all. You made a very good point there that Daniel Dubois, at the tender age of 26, has already been in with some of the elite of heavyweight boxing so far in his career. And his last two wins, almost, you could argue that are similar to what Parker has done in his last two fights. And Dubois has put himself right into the mix of things, where now a fight with Anthony Joshua is very plausible, off the back of good wins against Baby Miller and now Hrgovic, the undefeated Hrgovic. But he's had to learn kind of very quickly and very young, because he's obviously suffered the defeats to Joe Joyce and Usyk. but it looks like he's kind of coming into his own as well now, Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, listen, he's clearly, I think, reaching a maturity. We know he had his man strength, but he's reaching his maturity mentally now, I think. Heavyweights seem to be at their best between late 20s and early 30s. And I think he learnt from the Usyk defeat that he's got to take his opportunity when it's there. I think he learnt from Jarrell Miller that you've got to go through these passages where it's not going all your own way in a fight. I think we saw both of those things against Filip Hrgović. I mean, it was a bludgeoning, brutal fight from the off, where they were just hands down here and just smashing each other. It was certainly live. It was one of those fights where your breath's being taken away all the time. Do you recall? Because they're hitting each other with massive shots. I was with Spencer Oliver and the team at TalkSport. We were doing live hits at the time and writing for the live blog on Telegraph Sport. And I just remember writing, this ain't going 12 rounds. Someone's going to go here. And Daniel stuck to his game. He believed he could break Hrgović down. In the end, Hrgović looked like he'd been hit by a meat cleaver across the eye. It's almost like the flesh was hanging down. It was an extraordinary fight and an amazing performance by Daniel, I thought. He deserves massive props for what he achieved.
Absolutely. Filip Hrgović, again, I'd say relatively untested. He's still been in big fights. Obviously, that fight he had with Zhilei Zhang, etc. But what did you make of Filip Hrgović? Didn't really look like he was quite on it on Saturday night.
I think that's harsh because he clearly went in with a game plan of trying to break Daniel down, but it didn't work for him. He believed it. I thought he had a lot of self-belief and almost didn't cover up enough. I genuinely think he believed that he was going to break Daniel during the fight and win by stoppage. I'd interviewed him before. He said, I'm going to win by KO. Daniel said exactly the same, I'm going to win by KO. And they met in the middle. It was an epic encounter between two heavyweights who wanted to destroy their opponent. They were intent on that. Even the first round, there was no phony war, no feeling out process. They went straight at it.
Yeah, look, it looked at certain parts of the early rounds where Hrgović could almost have stopped Dubois.
He was getting through with that right cross a lot, wasn't he? A lot.
Yeah, look, maybe it's harsh to say he wasn't on it. I just think
it's a bit harsh saying he wasn't on it. I mean, what was it? What did it go to? 10 or 11 rounds in the end?
No, I think it was 8, wasn't it?
Was it 8 rounds? It was 8 rounds. Well, for 8 rounds, they went at it hammer and tongs. It was 8 rounds. I'm thinking of Ammo and Shiraz went 11, didn't it? They went at it, KUGAN. They took some heavy blows, both of them.
Yeah, I'm not trying to portray kind of a harsh portrayal of Hrgovic's performance. I think I kind of in my head I'd built Hrgović up quite kind of highly as.
Me too. I picked him to win.
It looked like from round 1, like you could have played round 1 to someone who wasn't watching the fight, and that could have been round 9. Like they were going at it from the first thing, and after the first 2 or 3 rounds, I did see kind of Hrgović kind of possibly stopping Daniel Dubois in those early rounds. But listen, fair play to Dubois. Like I said to you, he's had to kind of go through it at a very young age. He's only 26. He's gone through the whole thing with Joe Joyce. He's stepped up immensely against Usyk last year, and he's had to come back from all that. And in these last 2 fights, like I said, I compare him to like Joseph Parker's last 2 wins that he had against Zhang and Wilder to put him in the mix of competing with anyone. I put now Dubois in the mix with any of these heavyweights.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a massive opportunity. If they do end up, it's not. People keep saying it's confirmed. They are talking about Dubois fighting Joshua at Wembley in September at Wembley Stadium. It's not confirmed yet. They're going to confirm it at a press conference later, I believe, later in the month. If it's not, I don't think it's necessarily signed yet. But it's a great matchup. It's a great challenge for Anthony Joshua. and Daniel Dubois in this form and in this level of confidence and momentum, I just think the fans will enjoy the fight. If Daniel brings it against Anthony Joshua, again, it's going to be a collision. It won't last 8 rounds, in my view, if they go at it in the same way. Someone's getting knocked out. It's a proper challenge for Anthony Joshua. He has stepped up. I never called him a quitter, and I do not like calling fighters quitters. They are extraordinarily courageous fighters. Every fighter is. And he lived to fight another day when he damaged his eye. He was stopped by Usyk's brilliance. We know how great he is. It's no blemish on the man or what he can do. The fact that he lost to Usyk and he lost to Joe Joyce. Look where he is now. Look what he's done after the fight with Jarrell Miller. Look what he's done after the fight with Filip Hrgovic. Look what's happening at the moment. We're not getting these long pauses. We're getting these fights made. Anything's possible. As you know, if Deontay Wilder had won on Saturday night and had looked spectacular, knocking out a 20-stone Chinese man by the name of Zhilei Zhang, he might have been in the mix for September. As it is, he doesn't look right. He doesn't look like he's got a lot left. He was hunted and haunted, as the 2 expressions I've used, pushed into the corners, couldn't pull the trigger. And maybe the time is nigh now for Deontay Wilder. Maybe he doesn't have it anymore, but that's up to him to decide. Zhilei Zhang marches on as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you make a point there of, I know Frank Warren was on TalkSport earlier talking about the possibility of Joshua and Dubois, but if we really think about it, Turki Al Sheikh had said prior to the Zhang and Wilder fight that his preference was to see Anthony Joshua and Wilder in the ring for September. Now,
but that's also proving a point, Kugan, that fight wasn't made for 6 years, and he can make that fight. And I think that was part of it. It's a fight we never got, and we probably will never get, in fact.
Well, yeah, I think you're on the money with probably won't see that. But my point I'm trying to make is that Turkey was talking about...
Zhang deserves the opportunity.
Oh, look,
yeah.
He was talking about AJ and Wilder, right? Obviously, Zhang's knocked out Wilder, so you can't discount Zhang in the whole AJ mix for September because
it's a very good point.
If his plan was to have AJ Wilder and then Wilder's been knocked out by Zhang, you have to put Zhang in the mix of that. So it's not a given. I mean, look, the 2 front runners will be Dubois and Zhang, I would say, for September.
But in promotional terms, if you want to get 110,000 people at Wembley, Dubois against Joshua, Joshua against Dubois is the fight to sell. Zhang could, and rightly, could be given the chance to fight Joshua. He's a rightful opponent for him in lots of ways. He deserves the opportunity. But in terms promotionally, from my perspective, if I was the promoter, I'd be putting Dubois in with Joshua. And I think that whole IBF scenario exists around that anyway, doesn't it? It's because I think, again, even though they eschew the notion of belts at the moment in some ways, I still think the idea of Joshua having a fight with Dubois, I just think that's the fight that excites me right now, not the Zhang fight. I'm not going to argue with you. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Either one of them. But yeah, I see your point about obviously Dubois, Wembley. That's the one that will really kind of take to the public also. Gareth, I wanted to talk to you about this Anthony Yarde situation, which obviously has reference also to the Buatsi and now Willie Hutchinson being ordered by the WBO for the interim title. Obviously, we've seen a tweet from Anthony Yarde.
I've missed that today, I'm afraid. I've been off. But go on, what's he said?
Oh, okay. I'll read the tweet to you that he put out earlier on. Quote, Anthony Yarde, as I've said before, I'm a free agent. Queensberry have now agreed in writing that the term of my previous promotional agreement has expired, so I'm free to negotiate my future fights with any promoters, including Queensberry. I'm excited about the future big fights. Now, following from that, we've seen a statement from Queensberry that states, we have seen the statement from Anthony Yarde today. Queensberry's legal advice is that Anthony Yarde still has a contractual obligation to Queensberry.
Oh, well, look, I'm going to cut this short. They've got their own issues going on. Get him signed or don't. I listen, they believe he's under contract. He believes he isn't. Let them sort it out. I'm honest to God. I don't know. I haven't seen the contract, so I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate on it.
Okay. Well, listen, I won't ask you for any firm comment. I'm just going to...
I'd love to see him fight Boatsy.
Yeah. Let me just finish. An obligation which Queensberry expect to be honoured. Now, look, this is obviously a very kind of complex situation, which I'm not going to ask you to obviously get into. With this has all come out today, but look, the WBA have obviously ordered Yarde and Hutchinson, which now off the back of Hutchinson beating Craig Richards is
Yarde and Hutchinson, or Boatsy and Hutchinson.
Oh, sorry, my fault. Sorry, Boatsy.
Yeah.
And Hutchinson, which now kind of makes that fight a little bit more interesting off the back of Willie's win against Craig Richards. But yeah, look, listen, this is
It's just about money, isn't it? It's about money and earning more money, and that's what it is. I don't want to speculate on it because what I've heard, I haven't spoken to Yarde and his team, but I understand from Frank Warren he's still under contract. That is all I understood. I don't know the illegal in and outs of it, and I don't really want to comment on it. I'd see Willie Hutchinson against Yarde. I'd see Willie Hutchinson against Boatsy. I'd see Boatsy against Yarde. I like all those fights. And well done, Willie Hutchinson. I picked him to win, as you know, and I just think he's a very skillful boxer. He's not ready for world level all the time, but if he gets these fights now, it'll be amazing. It's a complex situation, Goose. You know what it's like with this. This is very complex right now, and someone's going to dip out.
Okay. Well, look, I'll just finish off by just a couple of things.
Cool.
We saw Oscar De La Hoya over the weekend gloating over what was going on in Saudi Arabia, which was expected. But yeah, Oscar De La Hoya now kind of proposes kind of a Golden Boy top-ranked 5v5 show, which we'll all be interested in. I mean, is it ridiculous to see De La Hoya and Arum against Warren and Hearn? I mean,
yeah, that's too much. I spoke to George about that and Eddie about that, and they said, "Oh my God, that's going to be so complex to put together."
Why?
Well, because that's what they said.
No, but what? Yeah, but in your opinion, why would that be complex?
Well, because I think 4 of them jockeying for different weight divisions, and I think it might get too complicated right now. But it'd be great to see if they had a 10v10 UK versus USA. It'd be amazing. And I suppose if there's enough money available and all that kind of stuff, we may well see it happen. But I'd certainly like to see a top rank against. I think we need to see a top rank against a Golden Boy first.
Yeah.
See how they work together, and then maybe we I don't know how they do it, but maybe they just make it cross promotional, or I don't know. But I'd like to see it. I think the 5. On that note, I think the 5v5 worked. I think it was like a Ryder Cup. I've never seen Frank so enthused and backslapping his fighters and clapping them on, and it was a whitewash. I've got to say this. I thought Eddie Hearn was a real sport as well. I mean, he showed a real chin when he was getting smashed up and hammered in the event. 10-0. It kind of belied the game because there were some close fights there as well. But it was a brilliant night. It really worked, and they promoted everything together, even though there was a rivalry. And as you know, you were there as well, that media lunch with 3 Warrens, a Hearn and a Smith, sitting within 10 feet of each other. It was a real pleasure moment to see them all there and just chatting about the future and fights. And
yeah, I agree.
Brilliant to see. Brilliant to see. I mean, you did that brilliant video there with them, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got me out of my seat And you went there and you felt it was great. I haven't watched that back, but you did a great job with that. It was an amazing moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was the first time kind of there was a media opportunity to be in front of kind of a lunch, these media lunches, which we're both used to.
But you know, it was also great. Even afterwards, Eddie prepared to do that skit on the plane. I was on that flight with Frank and Eddie, where Frank's give me the high five. We're 5 hours delayed. It's 5 hours left on the flight. I'm in row 5. Oh, listen, what a sport Eddie was about it. I'm not sure Barry would have been the same when he got home. I saw that notice. Get home, you plonker, or whatever it was. I don't know if that was genuinely from Matchroom. Get home.
That was definitely an Andy Ailing.
Was that an Andy Ailing? Okay,
I don't know for definite, but I'll put it out there. I think that was Andy Ailing.
You've got to say, Eddie took it incredibly well and did a brilliant job. And he'll be stewing over the next.
Should you be pissed off though at home behind closed doors?
No. Listen, he'll be he lost 3-2 in fights. Remember? Did he lose 5-0? No, he did. He lost 5-0. Sorry, in fights. It was 3-2 that I picked actually, but yeah. I think he might be pissed off, but only in the way that he'll be thinking, right, next time I'm going to beat him. Not in a. It was successful on all fronts because for some weird reason it was because all the fights delivered.
Yeah,
you know, even the Wilder Zhang fight delivered something that we talked about, that we will talk about for a while. That was maybe the final act of this dangerous heavyweight's career in the Bronze Bomber. And the Bronze Bomber didn't seem to be there anymore.
Yeah, that was going to be my last question. 2 questions in one. Should Wilder retire? Do you think he will retire?
I think he will, unless he feels that he's got to have one more outing. I don't think it'll be against anyone in the top 7 or 8 in the world. I didn't see the guy who I'd probably been at, I don't know, 12, 13 of his fights. I didn't see that guy in there. I saw it in the week. I saw it in his attitude. But I think maybe Father Time's caught up with him. Didn't seem to be able to pull the trigger. You wanted him to. It's like that with these great, powerful, dangerous fighters. You want that one great fight left in them. And maybe it's not there. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it certainly wasn't there against Zhang, who hunted him into the corners, who, I wondered at one point whether Wilder was trying to take him to the 6th, 7th, 8th round, and it was just trying to bide time. But it was a merciful stoppage in the end. I didn't want to see him go on.
Gareth, let me just ask you, if you're Wilder, the manner of the defeat, which is, listen, Zhang was entitled to throw that shot as Wilder kind of half turned his back. But if you're Wilder...
He hit him and turned him, didn't he? He hit him and
turned him. But obviously, the moment he landed with that shot that eventually put Wilder down, Wilder wasn't square on. So in Wilder's head, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Is Wilder possibly thinking in his head as a fighter that he was hard done by because of the... Is he thinking that?
He might be. If that's his way, if that's how he wants to think about it.
Zhang's entitled to do that because protect yourself at all times. That old cliche saying, which is very...
He got around him to hit him in the middle of his face. He didn't hit him from the back. He was like a galloping wildebeest, wasn't he?
If you're Wilder, and we've seen Wilder kind of come, some of the reasonings over the second Fury fight, etc. But if you're Wilder in your head...
And you're looking for a reason.
Are you content with that? I'm just asking. I think...
Well, let me first state, I am not in Wilder's head, as you know. So I'm purely speculating. If he wants a reason, he could say that he was caught cold. But why was he remonstrating with the referee when all Zhang did was punch him? Did they trip over each other potentially as well? If he wants to find a reason, they can always find a reason to fight again. Always find a reason to fight again. Just don't want to see him get hurt. As simple as that.
All right, here's the last question. put you right on the spot now. Would you categorically say that you would genuinely have no interest in a fight with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua? Right.
Not right now. No, I
At all.
categorically right now. No, I would not like to see it. I don't think it would be an edifying spectacle.
Okay.
It would be irresponsible of me to say yes.
Okay. No, just chucking it out there. Just chucking it out there. Gareth, thank you very much for your time, as always.
Peace out.
We will catch up. Are you at the Matchroom barbecue on Wednesday?
No.
Oh.
Well, unless I'm free. At the moment, I'm not. But I might jiggle along and have a vegan burger. I see on the menu. Am I allowed to read the menu out?
You've been sent a menu?
I've been sent a menu, yeah. Should I read it out? Shall I read it out? Go on.
I'm wondering why. I spoke to Eddie earlier as well, why I haven't been sent a menu. What are you on about? You've been sent a menu. Have you actually read it?
No, I'm not lying. Hang on. I'm trying to read the menu out as the final. I've got to go, but shall I read the menu out to you?
Yeah, go on.
Why has that gone? All right, hang on. Right,
Oh, do you know why I haven't got a menu? Because I haven't applied.
right, here we go.
All right, I haven't applied.
The menu is, and given that it's also a press conference for Johnny Fisher and Alan Babbage, Savage, the Matchroom barbecue menu: fillet of steak,
What?
gourmet beef burger served on a vegan brioche bun, gluten-free, grilled chicken kebabs, window 1 recipe, Cumberland sausages served in a fresh baked hot dog roll.
Are you making this up?
No, vegan GF burger buns, vegetarian options. How could I be making this up?
I'm just saying.
I'm not reading out the menu of Harry's Bar in Billericay right now. Come on. Vegetarian options: vegan Mediterranean veggie kebabs, window 1 recipe. Probably giving the company some airtime here. Vegan aromatic garden burger, cooked in accordance with vegan separation procedures. Halloumi kebabs, cooked to order with tan finish. Sides and salads. Stop it! I get in trouble. They've got some trouble here. Let me finish with the sides and salads.
God.
Sides and salads: coleslaw, horseradish added recipe. Garden salad, mixed leaves, cucumber, carrots, cherry tomatoes, peppers and radish. Corn on the cob, rolled in salted butter. Fisher versus Babbage, July 6th, live on Zone. Do you know what?
Bosh!
After reading that menu,
I'm starving.
I'm coming. Bosh! I'm coming on Wednesday. I am now coming after reading that menu. I'll see you there at 1 p.m.
Gareth, thank you very much for your time. I'm starving listening to that.
I know. I'm coming now. After reading it out, I am coming. I'm going to try everything on the menu.
Gareth, I'll see you Wednesday at the Matchroom press conference for Babbage and Fisher on July the 6th. Thank you very much.
BBQ, baby. BBQ.
God bless. Thank you.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.